Have you tried the ship refining system in Sea of Conquest? In this video, I'm going to go over several things. We're going to talk about why the system is important, how and what you need to do to be able to refine your ships, and how I personally will be using the system to develop my ships. The first thing you need to know about before even getting into the refining system is how to craft ships. Now, if you're in Season 1, you don't have this option. That's very unfortunate. But when you get into Season 2, you'll be able to have this option to be able to craft the Warhammer ship and the Stormbringer ship. The second major thing you need to know is that you can only refine ships you personally build, or the legendary ship that you can buy for the $99 pack that pops up in the beginning of the season. Now let's say we want to build the Warhammer ship that's on the screen. We'll first need the 20 blueprints, the 20 hammers, and 100k gold to be able to build this ship. If you click the unique skill button, we'll be able to go see all the skills that are possibly able to roll on this Warhammer ship. You have the 3 unique skills that can only roll, and they cannot be changed once they're rolled. They're the ones that cannot be refined with the refining system. Now let's just use the cost of strength as an example. Say we were able to roll this onto our Warhammer. The next skill for the unique basic skills, we probably would have wished that we could roll the Warlust Blaze. This will increase our cutthroat damage, and it will stack while the fight keeps going on. Increase every 10 seconds. And then on top of that, since our cost of strength does armor piercing and it scales off our impact, every 20 impact of our ship, we would really want like the armor piercing, precise armor piercing skill, increase the ship's impact by up to 24%. And then right below it, we would want as well the enhanced armor piercing, increase the ship's attack by 6% and its impact by 12%. With those both combined, that'll increase our cost of strength skill. It'll scale very well, but by the impact increase. Another one for a little bonus you could get is Glass Cannon for a little bonus. Increase your ship's impact by 30%, but reduces your armor. So it could work very well, but you got to take a little bit disadvantage when your armor gets decreased. But something like that is what we would want to roll. Let's build this ship of the Warhammer right now, and we'll see how this goes. So let's click the build button here. I'll give you a little animation, and it looks like we rolled a blue ship, and it came with the same old trick, which will take your previous couple seconds crit and redo it every 20 seconds. With this version of the ship, it can get up to 10 seconds with the legendary. It had shotgun weapons, it came in with large caliber broadsides and stealthy maneuvers. So now if we go to that one, into our ship, go look for that ship that we just built. It'll be on right here. And then we click the little button right here that's under skills. You'll be able to see the skills that we can roll. And like I mentioned, the unique skill we cannot roll. So we have to choose between these 3 skills. Now, we are not going to use this ship. We're actually going to break this down so we can show what the coral. So we're going to go back out. To break this down, we'll want to click the red trash can right here to delete the ship. And it'll give you this little prompt that we're going to get some coral back right here, some hammers, and a little bit of gold. And then we can slide this over and click confirm. And that just broke us down, which that'll give us the coral to be able to refine the ship. So what we could do here is we'll go to my legendary Warhammer that I have here. And like I said, I already selected one already, so I can only refine this skill, which is the Warlust Blaze. And then we'll have the refine button here that's telling us we need 1 gold coral. And we're going to click the refine button right here. And then right down here, it gives us the option, would we like to add war tactics? Increase the ship's damage of all types by 14% to non-player ships. Would I want to replace my War Blaze skill with that? Probably not. So what we can do is just click quit. But if you did want to replace it, you would click replace. But I'm going to click quit right here because it's something that I don't want to replace. Now, what makes the refining system important? It allows you to make your ship unique, unlike other ships. It allows you to customize your skills to get an advantage over others. Change the skill that might have rolled to benefit you off your unique ability. A great change with this system that Fun Plus made in a previous patch was that the coral do not increase every time you do a refine. It used to double every time you did a refine, but now they just made it a standard 1 coral, and I think that is one of the best changes they made to this system so far. Now you're all probably wondering by now, what skills should I be looking for when I'm refining my crafted ship, Stunna, tell me. Well, the wait is over, and we'll cover first the Warhammer ship, because you'll have that first in Season 1. So let's get into it. So the first one we'll go over, one of the unique skills that I think is one of the best in slot ones, is the cost of strength. And when the ship deals cutthroat damage, it will inflict armor piercing on that ship that's hit. Your armor pierced will decrease the armor of 32 for the following 5 seconds, and by an additional 10 for every 20 impact the ship has. So we're going to be looking for how much impact can we put on the ship to increase this one unique skill. So the first skills don't really help us out with that very much, but you can't go wrong with the Warlust Blaze. The ship deals 8% more cutthroat damage. While the battle goes on, you'll get an additional 8% increase for every 10 seconds. So that's just going to keep your cutthroat damage high. Another one you can't go wrong with is the Weakness Detection. Increase the ship's cutthroat damage by 14%. Those are the 2 skills we should be looking in this category. Now, this is where it gets really interesting with this unique skill. The 2 skills we should definitely be looking for is the Precise Armor Piercing, which is going to increase our impact by 24%. So that's going to stack. And then the next one we will be looking for is the Enhanced Armor Piercing, which will increase our ship's attack by 6% and its impact by 12%. So those are 2 that are going to be increasing our impact. A third one, which you can kind of go with, but I don't fully recommend, but if you get it, it's okay, is the Glass Cannon. This is also going to increase our ship's impact by 30%, but reduce the armor by 15%. So you're going to be a little bit weaker on the armor side. You'll take a lot more damage, but the impact will be increased even more. So that's 3 skills you could roll onto the ship to work with your cost of strength skill. Now you're probably wondering, okay, Stone, I got the same old trick. Or you bought the ship and you got the Fleet Surrenderer. These 2 will kind of go in line with each other. So I'm just going to cover them both together because they're going to want the same skills. Same old trick is the better one of the 3, I think. This is the one I personally use. The hero skill that has dealt the highest cutthroat damage. So we're looking for cutthroat damage in the previous 10 seconds will be recorded. Now every 10 seconds in the battle, the ship will launch a skill that deals a recorded damage against the target fleet. So we want the highest cutthroat damage we can get. So we're looking for skills that are going to give us cutthroat damage. So the first one we're going to go back to is the Warlust Blaze, which again, that's going to give us the 8% more cutthroat damage and increase it by 8% more every 10 seconds, and that'll stack up to 3 times. And the next one, again, we're going to go back to Weakness Detection. That's going to increase our cutthroat damage by another 14%. So there's 2 skills going to increase our cutthroat damage for that skill. And this one also scales off of the cutthroat damage as well. So we're going to try to go as high as cutthroat damage as well on both these skills. So then we're going to work our way down to the other skills we can go with. Now there's not huge options here for cutthroat damage. It's a lot of it's attack power, de-aggro, but the ones I would recommend is first going with Deadly Broadside, because this is going to increase our ship's attack by 8% and its critical rate. We definitely want some critical rate in there because we want the highest cutthroat damage that we can get. So the more crit, that means the more cutthroat damage we'll be able to do. The next one I would say, because you want the ship to stay alive, we want it to do the most damage. I think Stealthy Maneuvers is a really good skill. The more aggro we can decrease from our small ship on our Warhammer is going to be beneficial for us because we want that ship to stay alive. We also don't want it to take much damage because Cutthroat will attack the lowest HP ship. So if we can kind of keep that ship alive a lot longer, it's also going to be targeted less. So that's a really good one. And then my third skill I think you should be going for is Thunderous Fury. The ship deals 12% more damage of all types, so that'll fall under Cutthroat, regular attack. So I think those 3 are really good. And if an honorable mention would be Pure Gunpowder, which will increase the ship's attack by 12%, but it's not going to get us the Cutthroat damage that we're looking for. So I think those are the skills that we should be looking for these 3 skills that we have up here for unique. So let's move on to the next one, and this is the Stormbringer. The Stormbringer is my favorite ship in the game so far. I think it's the most best design they've come up with. It allows you multiple options. It's a really good ship for Season 2. So let's get in there. I personally think if you buy it, you'll usually get the Sever Damage. I think this is the weakest one. I mean, it'll be, if it matters if you're using Burning Damage, increase the enemy's impact by 48%, or if you're using Taking on Water Damage. Another thing you could use here, if you have the other skill on the Warhammer, you'll be able to decrease their armor if you set this up as a Taking on Water Damage ship. So that you could kind of use that as a combo. I would rather have like Fire Intent. And we'll start with this skill first. There's a 35% probability that the ship will deal blazing damage equal to 160% of its attack to the target ship. Every stack of burning on the target will increase the attack by 16%. The effect can be triggered at most once every 6 seconds. So the longer you survive, the more damage you're going to be doing of burning damage. And that's kind of the thing with damage over time. So you want to build as many stacks as possible, and you also want to live longer to get that full potential. There's a lot of good skills in the Stormbringer that we can use, that we can try to roll for here for just thinking that we're going to go burning damage. The first one is Enhanced Blazing. We're going to increase the ship's blazing damage by 14%. It's kind of a no-brainer right there. More burning damage if we're going to go full burning. And then next one was Blazing Techniques. Increase the ship's blazing damage by another 16%, but decrease the drowning damage by 6%. So it's not a big deal if we're all only rocking heroes like Lester and Tanaka and Ned or Will. So we don't really care about the drowning damage decrease. Unless you're rocking like Adeline or something on this, which you can. And then the third skill I think that's really good over here is, again, Unfettered Hunting. For every 8 seconds in the battle, so we're going to live longer, the ship can deal 10% more blazing or drowning damage. This effect can stack up 3 times. So again, if we're surviving, that'll also go well with the Fiery Intent by surviving and putting out the more damage, over time. So we're looking good there. And I think also Killing Pace is a really good one as well. After the ship deals damage caused by damage over time, or taking, either burning damage or taking on water, 10 times, the damage over time effects will have a duration extended by 2 seconds. Now, let's go over here to the bottom part. Again, not very many good options here for burning damage, taking on water damage. So, like I said, the first thing I think would really be good to have on here is the Stealthy Maneuvers like we covered earlier. Just decrease that aggro on the ship that you're trying to do the most damage as possible. So the longer it stays alive, the longer you'll be able to do damage, and we need that ship to stay alive a lot longer than others because it needs to do the damage over time. Another one I think is really good for this one is Deadly Offensive, where this is going to allow us to do 12% more damage of all types, so that includes burning or taking on water. When the remaining ship HP falls below 50%, the effect will be adjusted and the ship receives 12% less damage. So we're going to do as much damage as possible while we have high health, and then when our ship starts to get a little bit lower, we want that ship to survive. So we're going to get a little bit more armor for us. I think those are definitely the two best. And then you said you can't go wrong with, the Thunderous Fury as well. The ship deals 12% more damage of all types. That'll cover both of those as well. So that's what I would be looking for that one. And then if we end up going with the Vargar's Fury, when the ship launches a basic attack, and if this target ship is suffering from damage over time or taking on water damage, it can restore up to 200 rage for all heroes aboard that ship. This effect can be triggered at most once every 6 seconds. This is the skill I'm using. Now, I'm more using it as a support ship, so I'm not really, going too crazy with damage on this ship. So a lot of these skills will not help me as a support ship. But if I had to choose something, I would still, again, go with the Unfettered Hunting because I'm still doing blazing damage, which the ship will be lasting longer because it's more of a support ship. So I'll benefit from this because it'll be lasting longer. Relentless Strikes, increase the ship's attack damage over time. This could work for me as well. It's not a huge one. These blazing ones won't really help me that much. Enhanced Drowning won't. Killing Pace, again, I'll be staying alive, so this will increase my duration with just my Tanaka that's on my ship. So that one would work for me. If we come down here, some of the things, like I said, I would rather have Deadly Offensive because I'm using a support ship with this, and I'm going to try to keep the rage going. So the longer I keep my ship alive, so if I start losing HP, it's going to give me more armor. The next one, again, Stealthy Maneuvers. Again, I'm using it as a support ship with this skill. So it decreases the ship aggro. And you don't have to use this as a support ship like with this skill. It's just how I'm using it. You might want to have like Adeline, Tanaka, and Lester on there. So you're going to kind of do all kinds of damage. But again, I think Stealthy Maneuvers will help out there too. And then I say we can come back to, like I said, the pure gunpowder, which will increase our ship's attack. Can't go wrong with Thunderous and Fury, which will increase our ship's damage by 12%. Last but not least, we get to the Goddess Sagitt. And what I think for these skills, the very first skill, the New Age Ammunition, I feel like this is going to be really good in Season 4 with Chizuru Hero. Increase the splashing damage by 20% for every 8 artillery damage that the ship deals. One basic attack will be immediately launched. I think this skill will be very good with Chizuru because she scales off of basic attacks. So the more basic attacks you can get off is great. And also this doesn't have a cooldown. Or there's no cooldown on the skill like these other ones have. Reluctant to fall behind. When the Allied ship in the basic fleet launches a basic attack, there's a 10% probability that the ship will launch a basic attack immediately, and the effect can be triggered at most every 4 seconds. So there's a cooldown on this one, and then from Bombard, when the ship deals artillery damage, there's a 30% probability that it will deal an additional artillery damage equal to 240% of its attack to the target. The effect can be triggered at most every 6 seconds. So back to the new age ammunition, we'll go with this one, and we'll try to build it out from here. So again, we're looking for splashing damage, and then every 8 artillery damage, we'll get a basic attack. So we want to look for artillery damage and splashing damage. So the very first unique skill here we're going to go for is increase your ship's artillery damage by 14%, volley command. And then as an honorable mention would be probably combat expertise. The next honorable mention would be combat experience. For every 6 basic attacks, increases the ship's armor by 3%, the artillery damage by 5%. So this effect can stack up to 3 times. So we're going to be doing basic attacks. So that new age is going to pop a basic attack, which will also increase our armor. So that's very good. The first thing I would be looking for, since we're looking for splashing damage on this, would be shotgun weapons. The ship deals 15% more splashing damage. The next one we could go with is Revenge Fervor. For every 1 fleet attacking on the fleet you're in, increase splashing damage by 6%. The effect can stack up 3 times. So again, more splashing damage. The next ones we can kind of go with for some honorable mentions. I think Stealthy Maneuvers is very good on artillery because your artillery is getting attacks off first before any of your other ships. So it's going to get attacked first. And I get destroyed real quick if I don't protect my artillery ship. And probably the last one we could kind of go with is increase your ship's attack by 8% and increase its critical rate by 5%. And again, we kind of know for Thunderous Fury, you'll get all damage types for artillery damage. So the more artillery damage we'll have, it'll go off of that. Now back to this one. This is the one I'm personally using right now, and this is what I've built. Reluctant to fall behind. When an allied ship in the fleet launches a basic attack, there's a 10% that the probability of the ship will launch a basic attack immediately, and the effect can be triggered at most every 4 seconds. So this one has a little bit of cooldown, but we're still looking for the same thing. It'll increase our attack by 10% and it'll launch a basic attack. So again, volley command we're looking for. Combat experience will work as well, just like we talked about. And the same thing down here will be the same that we're looking for. You can use deadly broadside, stealthy maneuvers, pure gunpowder. And you can even get away with large caliber, increase the ship's attack by 8% and its critical damage by 10% if you have high crit. The last one, like we talked about, Bombard. When the ship deals an artillery damage, there's a 30% probability it will deal an additional artillery damage equal to 240% of its attack of the target. The effect can be triggered at most once every 6 seconds. So again, we're looking for attack. So because it's going to do 240% of its attack. So again, volley command won't really work for us here. So we're looking for something with attack. This one was a little bit better. Ballistic research. Increase the ship's attack by 6% and the artillery damage. So we're getting at least a little bit higher attack there. And then the combat experience, it won't really help us much there. So probably you can't go wrong with volley command or ballistic research. Now down here, we're looking for attack power. So deadly broadside, increase the ship's attack by 8% and its critical rate by 5%. Very good there. You still can't go wrong with stealthy maneuvers on this one. You could also go with, again, the pure gunpowder is going to increase our ship's attack, so they'll scale well with that. And you could also go with, again, large caliber, increase the ship's attack by another 8% and its critical damage. How do you feel about it? Is it great? Is it bad? Would you like to see more changes to the system? Would you like to see something maybe added or removed? Have you been able to roll a near perfect ship so far? Please let me know in the comments. And as always, may the winds be in your favor, and adios.